Hello and welcome to day 4 of the London Bookshop Crawl. Today we are looking at the word landmarks. Here's what's coming up. Thank you so much for all the positive feedback we've received so far this week. We have been blown away by the support we've received, and we are so pleased to see that so many of you have been buying books. Really, really great. If you have bought books, why not tell us about them below? Tell us about them on social media. Use our hashtag London Bookshop Crawl. If you haven't yet, obviously do hit the subscribe button, follow us. All the support you give us really is appreciated. Right now, we've got 2 5 Quick Things videos. The first one is with Annabel Steadman. She's an author. She's just signed up to Simon & Schuster, and her series Bloodthirsty Unicorns is coming out very soon. We're all very excited. It looks like a really good fiction series. And here she is with her 5 Quick Things.
Hi, I'm Annabel Steadman. I'm a writer and I currently live in North London. The thing I like the most about bookshops is this sense of discovery. They're a gateway to all these different stories and accounts and experiences, and to be honest with you, I never come out of a bookshop only getting the book that I wanted. And there's something so wonderful and also calming and peaceful about going along the shelves and seeing titles you've never even heard of and picking something up. And it sounds silly, but there's a kind of calm that comes over me, almost like how I imagine Lyra is when she's reading the alethiometer. When you read a blurb or the bookseller tells you about a book and you think that is exactly the book that I wanted or needed, and you didn't even know before you walked through the door. One of my favourite bookish experiences actually happened in a bookshop, and it was in Queen's Park Books in London, which is a wonderful bookshop, and I would recommend anyone to go and have a look there. And I was walking in, I was just browsing, as you do, and a woman came in and she was wanting recommendations for her 10, 11-year-old daughter, I think. And this daughter obviously read a lot, and her mother was kind of desperately trying to look for something for her to read in half term that she hadn't read before. And the bookseller there was absolutely incredible. Like, her knowledge of children's books was encyclopedic. I was just standing back thinking, I'm gonna take all these recommendations for myself. But the best thing was that she really listened to what the child was like and other things that she'd read before, and she was so passionate about the books that she was recommending. And I was halfway through a draft of Scandar and the Unicorn Thief, and at that point where you struggle, you've got a lot of words behind you and a lot of words to go, and I thought, no, this is why I need to make it the best book, the best draft that I possibly can, because one day then maybe a bookseller like this, who is so passionate about reading and recommending books for children, maybe one day they'll recommend my book. And it was really special. And then I bought all the books. So one of my favourite bookish discoveries was when I was living in Oxford, and I was actually rereading his Dark Materials by Philip Pullman, and I realised that you could go and visit the Oxford Botanic Gardens, where Lyra and Will have various meetings. And there's actually a bench there that has a marking on to kind of commemorate the story. And I thought that was really nice with the real and the imagined coming together. So I'm actually being a bit cheeky with my 2021 book recommendation because I actually have 3, but I will try to go really fast and hopefully that'll be okay. So the first one I have is for a book called Dragon Legend by Katie and Kevin Sang. It's actually the second book in the series. I actually have the first book here, Dragon Mountain, and the second book is coming out on the 4th of March. If you haven't read this book yet, get on it. If you have, you'll know there is the most enormous cliffhanger at the end, so you're going to be wanting to get your hands on that next one. My second one is for a book called Moonchild, A City of the Sun by Aisha Bushby. This is also a second in a duology. If you haven't read it, the first book is called Moonchild, A Voyage of the Lost and Found, and it's so beautiful. Look at that cover. And it's an absolutely wonderful story, full of magic, full of adventure, and the second one is going to be brilliant. So please pre-order. That is coming out on the 29th of April. And my third recommendation is for a book called Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. So the pitch for this book is Artemis Fowl meets Men in Black, which for me just sounds absolutely brilliant. It's a middle grade fantasy book, and it is coming out on the 19th of January.
Thank you, Annabel, for taking the time to do your 5 quick things. That really is appreciated. And your choice of the book bench in Oxford, I knew it existed. I've never been there. I would love to go. I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to those sort of things, finding literary locations. We actually went to Oxford a few years ago in the summer and we did a bookshop crawl in Oxford. There was about 45 of us. It was a series we do called the Summer Bookshop Crawl. And it's actually one of the best ones we've ever done. I love Oxford. It's a beautiful place, beautiful city, so many amazing bookshops. Hopefully we will go back. Hopefully we will get to do more bookshop crawls there in the future. So our next 5 quick things video, that is with Ana Drinovan. She works for Calder Books in London. For anybody who doesn't know Calder, that is the theatre bookshop. And here she is with her 5 quick things.
Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm based at the Calder Bookshop and Theatre in Waterloo, just across the street from the Young Vic. I think what I like the best about the London Bookshop Crawl is that, aside from it being a totally unique experience, is that it brings people to new places from which to experience the new worlds that they encounter in books. There's something really special. One of my favorite bookshops in London is Atlantis Books, which has a wonderful collection running the gamut of spirituality and magic. And the bookshop is run by some people with fantastic hearts and souls. I think one of the most exciting finds that I've ever made in London was just one of those experiences that came out of nothing on a rainy afternoon in the middle of the winter time. Something like last year or 2 years ago, when I was walking through Soho on an errand, and after years of having thought I'd wandered as many alleyways as possible in this city, I came across Cecil Court, which is, of course, famous for its antiquarian bookshops, in this tiny little alleyway. It was a wonderful, magical afternoon. London's always full of surprises like that. I think in 2021, my recommendation for a book is most definitely The Human Cosmos by Jo Marchant. who is a fabulous historian, who is writing about the human relationship to the skies and the stars throughout history. She's very good at telling stories, so the book is absolutely replete with amazing characters and historical events that you either know, you think you know, or you don't. But then it's also a wonderful exploration of how close and how far we have been from the greater forces that govern our tiny little lives, which is something that I think a lot of us have become attuned to in the past year. It's a great book, and I definitely recommend it.
It's Landmarks Day.
It's Landmarks Day. Landmarks Day.
We wanted to include the theme landmarks because we have a lot of landmarks in various ways that participate in the Bookshop Crawl. A lot that are participating this year and a lot that have participated in the past and aren't this year for various reasons. I mean, just assume, as far as I know, no one isn't participating because they hate us. They're all not participating because they're not open, or they're, not able to because of staffing or whatever. Yeah. So anyway, we wanted to talk about a few, and we wanted to share some of our favourite bookish monuments and areas and things in London. Really.
What should we start with? Should we start with a monument?
Yeah, go for it.
So my favourite monument is probably Agatha Christie.
Yes, we discovered her by accident, didn't we?
I really like that Agatha Christie statue. Whereabouts is that? That's
you currently can't remember where it is.
I can't remember where it is. We found it by accident.
Charing Cross somewhere.
That sort of way? Yeah, around there. We will. If we're wrong, we'll tell you below, but we're pretty certain it is. So that's one of my favourites. Also, then going into complete Leicester Square, obviously you've got all of the things like William Shakespeare.
Yeah, they're lovely. Yeah, in the middle of Leicester Square there. I really like Peter Pan in Kensington Gardens, just to be really boring and classic.
That's all right.
It's a lovely statue. It's just nice. And moving away from statues, I have to say my favourite bookish experience that I have done is something we usually do in the Bookshop Crawl that we obviously can't do this year, but this is the first year, I think, since 2018 that we haven't done it.
2018, I think.
And that is, we usually take a behind-the-scenes tour of the British Library on a Sunday when the reading room is empty, and we get to go sit in the reading room and get told loads of stuff about the history of the library. And I think I did a Treasures of the British Library tour where we got to see like the biggest atlas in the world, and I've got a picture of my friend standing next to it, which I'll probably share on social media somewhere, as long as she's all right with it. But it's a gorgeous tour. It's such a nice way to finish a weekend usually as well, and so interesting.
Really interesting. Are we allowed to give a fact about the British Library?
Probably are.
Should we give a fact?
Yeah.
It was designed by a person who also designed ships, which is the reason why lots and lots and lots of the doors have like round circular windows like portholes on a ship.
There we go.
And also the whole building itself looks like a ship. So if you look at it from the outside, from the side view, you can actually see it looks like a ship.
Yeah, I think we have loads of landmarks that take part in the Bookshop Crawl. So usually we have the bookshop in Somerset House, which is not taking part this year, and couldn't last year because they were having renovations done, but they usually do. And that's a really interesting bookshop to visit, just because it's mostly specialises in things to do with the exhibitions they have on there. We've also got a lot of, so this year we've got the Mosaic Rooms bookshop taking part again. They've taken part since 2018. And they're also attached to a gallery, so they have books relating to Middle Eastern culture and art and different things that they have going on in the gallery there. And then we've got landmarks such as Gay's the Word, which is a landmark in itself. For a long time, it was the only LGBTQ plus bookshop in the country. It's not now, thankfully. There have been some others join it, but it was the flag standard bearer. Is that the word I'm looking for? The flag flyer for a long, long time. And obviously the history of the shop is massively important. So as a place in itself, it's a landmark. And I think we've got a couple of other shops like that taking part that are like the first of their kind or the longest standing. Hatchard's bookshop is registered this year, one of the oldest bookshops in the city. So it's an interesting mix of bookshops in buildings that are landmarks and bookshops that are landmarks themselves, which I think is really is really cool. Really.
Definitely. It's not really a landmark, but it's one of my favourite things in a bookshop. The bookshop tree.
Oh, in Lloyd's of Kew. If you haven't been, as soon as you're allowed to go in bookshops and travel to get to them, go to Lloyd's of Kew. Lloyd's of Kew is magic. And they have in their back room a tree that has bookshelves in it, and you walk around the tree and look at books, and it's gorgeous.
It's amazing.
It's so gorgeous.
We had, I don't know if we've still got a picture. If we have, we will put it up right now
somewhere, yeah.
of our children just sat basically underneath the tree.
They were almost
just
in a
reading
heater.
in a heater. Everybody
friends.
else sort of climbing over them, trying to...
Yeah.
It's not a very big bookshop, but it is a beautiful bookshop, and they've got
they
some amazing
somehow
books.
have tea and biscuits usually for us as well. I'm still not sure where they make the tea and biscuits. They
magic up the tea and biscuits.
It is like magic tea and biscuits.
And it's not far from Kew, obviously, so you can go to Kew Gardens, which is amazing. That is a landmark, definitely.
100%, yeah. And also, so is, in Kew, while I'm on the subject, this is all just future trip planning for you, the Maids of Honour Tea Room, which we went to on a Bunk Off and Bookshop event, as I was talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely tea room, and it's really historic, and it is the home of the original recipe for the Maids of Honour tea cake.
Yes.
Is that the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's historic.
It's very historic.
And they have good cake.
Very, very good cake.
And really nice tea. They have like an extensive tea menu.
That area of London is actually really good because obviously you've got Kew Gardens. So if you wanted to take in a few bookshops in normal time, you've got Kew. You could then go from there to go to maybe a few museums across the river, just behind Lloyd's of Kew. You end up finding, sort of heading towards Brentford, and you've got the Musical Museum, which is brilliant museum, and the Steam Museum.
The Steam Museum, and it's not a million miles to places like Hampton Court Palace.
No, exactly.
Richmond Park is obviously up the road.
It's really good location, right next to the Thames as well, so you do get to sort of travel over one of the bridges as well.
And the same with if you want to go hang out with Peter Pan in Kensington Gardens, obviously you've got Hyde Park, and you can walk through the park to many various places.
Definitely. So, wave at the Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah. I mean, this is all really far off and in the future at the moment for those of us that aren't directly in central London right now and can go to these places on our daily walks. But I hope that it kind of gives you some inspiration for the future, which will come.
It will come, and that is kind of the idea of this year. This year's online bookshop crawl. We are here to inspire.
Yes.
Inspire and to help encourage the bookshops that are open, to help people, to encourage them, to support them.
And Gaze the Word, you should check out our big list because they've got a discount, but you have to have a specific code to get the discount.
You do.
I love it. One year they did a discount for anyone who went to the till and said pink flamingos, which is just, it's so fun. I love it so much. So, lots for you to check out today. We've got this evening, here on YouTube, we've got the Big Bookish Quiz live.
I feel like we should have like a voiceover sound.
We should have the guy who
Big Bookish Quiz! I don't know.
There we go. That's the one. At 7:30, it's family friendly. So bring your kids if you want to, or put them to bed very early and come by yourself. It's just for fun. There's, as far as I know, there aren't any prizes unless I decide there should be prizes, in which case there'll be prizes. But at the moment, there's no prizes. It's just for fun.
You will either see one of us, two of us if the children are asleep, or alternatively, more likely, four of us if the children are awake.
Yeah. It's going to be about 5 rounds, I think, of different questions relating to bookshops and books, and it's going to be really good. So you should come and join in with that. I'm just going to be live here, and you can chat away in the comments. And one of us, hopefully, if our kids are asleep, will be there to answer any questions you have or anything like that. Obviously, we've got bookshop spotlights throughout the day, as usual, and maybe some other things as well. I can't currently remember. So you're just going to have to check out the hashtag, which is London Bookshop Crawl. Please remember to use it when you're telling us about where you have visited, what you've bought, and your favourite London landmarks, because we'd love to know. So leave us a comment, use the hashtag on social media, we can share.
If you've got any obscure statues or blue plaques that you've spotted, tell us about them below. That would be really interesting so that we can incorporate them perhaps in a future year.
Yeah.
And while we're on the matter, of course, at this point, every day so far, I've told you to subscribe. So please do hit the subscribe button.
I don't know what I'm pointing at. You're going to put it over there, aren't you?
I'll put it up here on the top, maybe, instead.
Okay, we've clearly reached peak hysteria, so enjoy the rest of the day. We will see you tomorrow for reflections. And a very interesting conversation in the evening tomorrow. So
very, yes.
Don't miss all the details about that. We will tell you tomorrow.
Bye.